Fairly often, you can hear someone make the statement that one who is grieving needs to move on. What exactly do they mean by that statement? Hi, my name is Gladys Bell, and I am a motherless daughter and a volunteer for the Motherless Daughters Ministry. Every week, we invite you to join us for Monday morning ministry moments, otherwise known as 4M for You. It's designed to bring information, education, and support to all of those who are experiencing mother loss. We invite you to share with other motherless daughters. If you hear anything that's helpful to you, give us a review and send us your comments. We'd be glad to respond to each and every one. What do people mean when they say move on? For me, it conjures up suggestions that I stop looking sad, stop crying all the time, stop remembering my loved ones, stop dwelling on the hurts and the losses, stop responding to things, the many things that trigger my tears. It's like they're saying, put all that pain behind you and stop grieving, get on with living your routine life. It feels like they're telling us to forget our loved ones, that they even existed, and go on with our life. In my mind, when that comment is made, they can stop right there and speak to the hand, although I would never say that to anyone. No one can determine your grief journey. Uh, it's customized to your need. You and only you are the only one who can determine when and how that journey gets transformed and what it looks like. Each of our experiences is unique. I can only testify to my own experience. So today you get to hear a little more about my story. If you've joined me here before, you know that I invite you to walk with me as I am currently on a grief journey. My mother loss happened 16 years ago, but resurfaced vividly uh, this past year when we lost our 46-year-old daughter. For 24 years, she dealt with the symptoms and all that goes with a very complex diagnosis. My mother was a strong support throughout that process, with whom I talked every day, and she walked every step of the way with us. She was not only a shoulder to lean on, she was a confidant, a neighbor, uh, a partner in at dinner, travel, and in the ministry. Um, and losing both of them and missing both of them has been overwhelming for this past year. My grief covers me, quote, like the sky, spreading over everything, which is a quote from C.S. Lewis, who was talking about his wife who had just passed. But this grief is woven into my life story. It's not the whole picture, but it is part of the tapestry of my life, and it coexists with all the other life tasks and emotions. The Bible uses a phrase, bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, and speaking in Genesis, the second chapter, between verses 21 and 23, about the creation of woman, which was taken from man. But it also says that God caused a deep sleep to come upon Adam when this was done. In other words, he gave Adam an anesthetic. Um, I am bone of my mother's bone and flesh of my mother's flesh. My daughter is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. These losses are like having a part of my body torn from me without that anesthetic. But even if your experience was complicated by emotional absence, narcissism, adoption, or double loss, uh, your connection to that person isn't broken by the separation. Your loss may have been 6 months ago, it may have been 30 years ago, but healing still needs to take place from the impact of that experience. And your healing experience may be someone else's lifeline. Granted, it's not easy for someone to watch you go through the excruciating pain of devastating loss of someone close to you. They're helpless to say anything to make the grief go away, but they can simply be there for you and be a support for you. The fact that someone else is uncomfortable with your grief is not your problem. It's their problem. And it's not your responsibility to make them feel comfortable. Your efforts need to go toward your healing. So for someone to imply that you need to forget the hurt, the grief, the pain, and resume daily activities is not realistic. It's not possible. Um, I choose not to recognize or use the phrase move on when speaking of grief. I choose to say that it's a gradual process of learning how to manage grief and to live a full and productive life for whatever time I have left. In doing so, I seek healthy ways to honor their memory, our relationship, and support others working through their healing. My husband preached a sermon once entitled, I don't know when and I don't know how, but I do know who. And it's because I know who God is that I know that there is a balm in Gilead, that there is healing available, and I'm holding on to the promises of God. I'm not there yet as far as healing from my grief totally, and I don't know how long it will take, but each day brings a portion of healing. And I hope you walk that journey with me. The angels God has dispatched on my behalf have assured me that with the passage of time, I'll be able to see life through different lenses. The bottom line here is that it's important for you to know that healing from our grief doesn't mean that we stop grieving. It doesn't mean that we stop hurting, that we forget our loved ones or leave them behind. Uh, we will hurt every time we are triggered, even ambushed by a thought, a picture, a smell, a sight, or an object. We don't get over, get rid of, or get done with our grief. Like it or not, it may feel like being moved by a mob, but we do get moved forward in life. We get moved back into life. The journey progress may be only one day at a time. It may be one step at a time, but healing is possible. And the Motherless Daughters Ministry is here for you with a variety of resources to help you on that journey. Remember, you are not alone. Until next week, God bless you.